Hi, my name is Madeline, and welcome to today's tropical watercolor tutorial. Today's tutorial is inspired by the brand Tommy Bahama, and it's a very vintagey tropical vibe. And because of that, I am not going to be painting from a reference photo today because I'm sort of being inspired by the different types of clothes that I know that this brand makes. And when I think of this brand, I think of palm trees, sunsets, and really bright and bold colors. So that is what we're going to paint today. I'm going to paint a sunset with pretty bold reds and oranges, and we are going to have fun. This is Arsh 100% cotton watercolor paper. This is actually the 300-pound paper, and I'm taping it off with some masking tape, and we are going to get in with painting the background first. I'm going to grab my Princeton Neptune Mottler brush, and this is to just get the paper wet. I'm going to get some clean water, and we're going to start with a wet on wet background wash. I have a round 6 brush, and I'm just going to start picking up some color. So this is Opera. I want our sunset today to have really warm pinks, reds, oranges. So I'm going to start with some Opera, and then I am going to pick up some yellow. I always like starting my background wash wet on wet because I like when my colors sort of bleed into each other and we are less likely to get hard lines. We're more likely to get colors just sort of flowing into one another. And when I think of the sunset, that's what I think of. I think of all these really bright and intense colors sort of all mixing together. And actually, I do paint a lot of sunsets, and I don't usually paint with very intense, bright colors. So this week's theme is sort of giving myself permission to paint with really bright colors. I tend to kind of veer to a more soft pastel color palette. And so this week I'm just sort of changing it up. And yeah, we are going to go bright and intense. I've been watching a lot of Amber's reels. She's been painting her backgrounds with like a Tintoretto, I think it's a liner, maybe it's their mop, but like one of the really tiny ones. And she's like getting all this really amazing like white space. And I was hoping to capture some white space, but I haven't been successful. So we're just going to do a Madeline background where everything's covered and there's not a whole lot of that like empty, not empty, nice vintagey white space. Sorry, I forgot to list my colors. So I had grabbed some Opera, and then I grabbed some Masha, I think Tiger's Eye. It's the yellow, the orange, and the red in the amber palette. And then I grabbed some purple for the very top. I wanted the upper sky of our landscape to be really intense with like purples and blues. And now I'm grabbing, I think, Flame by Masha, and I'm adding in some more orange to the areas around the yellow. I want that very middle horizon line to have a little bit of yellow because I do want to put a sun there eventually. And so I'm going to try to not completely cover up the yellow that I have. And then now I'm grabbing a little bit of ultramarine and I'm just going to add a little bit of blue to that area on the right and a little bit right there too. I like how that looks. I'm going to grab my hot air tool. We're going to completely dry this layer. And in our next layer, we are going to add some palm trees. So I'm still using my round brush and I'm picking up, I think this is, I think it's 100% cotton watercolor paper. And I'm a black. I can't recall off the top of my head which brand it is, but it's just the black. I want my palm trees to be nice and thick and bold. And so I'm going to start painting the outline of the palm trees with the round brush. And then I'm going to come in once the frame of the palm tree is set up with my Da Vinci Colonial liner to sort of add some of the smaller, thinner palm tree leaves. I've been painting a lot of palm trees this week. I have been painting them in white gouache for some of my other landscapes, but there's something really sunsetty about orange and black, in my opinion. So I really like the orange contrasting with the black that we have our palm trees. I feel like painting the palm trees first with the round six and then coming in after with the liner brush makes the palm tree feel bigger and like fluffier almost. Because sometimes when I just paint the palm tree with the liner, I feel like it looks a little like thin and sparse. So I'm actually really liking how these palm trees are looking. Having started them with the round six brush. And when I say round six brush, just like a brush that's not a liner, that kind of has thicker brush strokes, so that I think that's adding to the palm tree feeling more substantial. I really like how this looks. I'm going to grab my hot air tool. We're going to dry this off. And then the sun, I have a really fun idea to emboss this sun. So I am really horrible at drawing a circle. So I have a little washi sticker that's a circle, and I'm gonna come in with my embossing pen and I'm going to outline the circle because I can never draw a circle. It always looks lopsided, so I was hoping this would help. It doesn't entirely, but I think it's better than me freehanding it because when you emboss, the embossing ink is actually clear, so it's really hard to see where you've drawn or stamped for that matter. So I outlined the circle and then I am using my palette knife to sort of pick up the washi sticker, and then I'm just coloring in the circle. And funny fact, so I've been buying all this stuff off Amazon to emboss, and I actually ordered like a gold embossing powder, but they accidentally sent me this red, and I'm not mad about it. And I'm gonna make the sun out of this red because I would have never ordered this. This is called red tinsel. I can see this being beautiful for like Christmas time, but I'm actually gonna make a red sun because this feels really fun, and I'm kind of glad that they accidentally sent me red because I don't think I would have ordered it on my own. So I dumped the embossing powder over the circle that I drew with the embossing pen, and I didn't fully cover the circle, so you can see me dumping the red embossing powder back on the little parts that I didn't cover completely. And then I saw Amber do this, but she dumps the extra embossing powder onto like a black cardstock, and so that's what I did. And then I'm just kind of transferring the excess embossing powder back into its container. And then I'm gonna grab a big brush and I'm gonna just kind of dust off the excess embossing powder that's around my sun. And I apologize, I am going to do that off camera. I, for some reason, didn't think to film it. I just kind of did it really briefly. And now I'm gonna take my hot air tool and I am going to dry the embossing powder. And I'm not going to speed this up so that you can see that it does actually take a little bit for the embossing powder to dry. And then once it dries, it becomes, I guess how I would describe it, kind of like dried paint. It isn't loose powder anymore and you can't really dust it off or anything. And it's really hard to see at the angle that I'm at, but this is a super bright and shimmery red, which is actually like the perfect sunset sun color. So once I remove my masking tape, I'm actually going to show you this with a little bit of sunlight. And it's this really bright, shiny red, and I just love it. I hope you enjoyed painting along. If you liked this tutorial, please hit the like button. It's a really small way to help my channel grow. And if you enjoy my content, use the following QR codes to either find me on Patreon or Instagram.